Now, ladies and gentlemen, you guys asked for an aim tip video the other day, and I'm going to do you one better. I'm going to bring you some revolutionary game-changing tips for you guys in Apex Legends that you are not going to want to ignore. You're not going to want to be playing the game the same way after taking a look at these tips. Trust me, it's going to make your gameplay 100 times better. And also, obviously, we do have some aim tips involved in this video. I wanted to keep it short. I wanted to keep it sweet. So I do have about 4 tips for you guys with a bunch of little other things cluttered in here. But I don't want to make it too long and bore you guys. So without further ado, let's get into it. How to get better basically at Apex Legends in Season 11 and so forth going on. The first tip today is going to be focusing on one enemy. Now, a lot of you guys are going to say, well, Sweat, normally when I go into a fight, I'm focused on one enemy at a time. Then once I kill that guy or once I get that guy knocked, then I'll focus my attention to another enemy. And while this is true in some regards, it's not always the case. So hear me out. First of all, what you're going to want to do is reduce the lines of sights that the other enemies on the team can see you from. So if this is duos, you're going to only have to worry about one other person. If this is trios, then you're probably going to have to worry about 2 other people. Now, you'll be pleasantly surprised if you're playing a duos match and it's only a solo that you run into, or you're playing a trios match and it's only 2 or the 1 guy that you're running into. Then you'll be pleasantly surprised in that case. But that is usually not what's going to happen. So you need to always prepare for the worst, which is the max amount of enemies, obviously. So I actually saw something really good and a really good analogy on TikTok. I don't even know what TikTok it was, and I honestly think it was not even an Apex Legends one, so I cannot give credit, but I'm shouting this guy out anonymously because I do not know where I saw this. I saw this a long time ago, and he said to slice the pie, and I thought this was a really good analogy in reducing the line of sight that other enemies can see you from. Basically, what he meant by this is once you're heading around a piece of cover, you want to be looking at one enemy at a time, making sure that you're not getting focused by every single person on that team, obviously, and you're going to single somebody out one person at a time, basically like you are cutting that pie once at a time. So you're going a little bit around the corner, a little bit more around the corner, and then fully around the cover at the end once you know that nobody's going to be at that angle and you are free to fight the other enemies. Now, you do not need to kill the enemy completely. I feel like a lot of people get this mistaken and they have it in the back of their mind or in the front of their mind, actually, that you need to fully kill that enemy before you can worry about another person. This is not the case whatsoever. Let's say you got a guy healing up behind a tree. You hit him for 100 plus, right? He's shaking in his boots and you're not hit at all, by the way. So he's shaking in his boots. He goes to heal up behind cover. Now, before pushing that guy and fully committing to that person, you need to then swing around that cover that you're playing and make sure that those other people on the team are not staring at you and not focusing you. Because what's going to happen is you're going to be so tunnel visioned on that one guy that you got cracked. So you're going to be calling out, guys, I got one cracked over here, I'm pushing. And then instantly you're going to get lasered by the rest of the team. That's what we don't want to happen. The only way you're going to be able to press that guy that you had low is if the other 2 people are not checking you out. Oh, that sounded a little, not like that. Not looking at you. Okay, basically is what I'm trying to say here. That's the moment where you take your opportunity. You go push that guy that's healing behind cover and you get that kill. But most of the time, the other teammates are going to be looking at you. You're going to want to focus your attention onto them and do as much damage as humanly possible. Then you're hoping that your teammates are pushing up on the other side, which if they are decent players, they will already be doing, and they should be way ahead of you in today's lobbies. You never know, though. If you get those random teammates that are just sitting behind rocks, it's going to be a lot harder than if you have good teammates. All right, everybody, the second tip today is probably one that I've honestly never heard in my entire life. I watched a lot of Apex Legends tip videos, you know, doing research, stuff like that. But I don't think I've ever heard anybody talking about hip firing while you're fading away. Now, they always say you never know what's going to happen unless you take the leap. You might as well take the chance, because if you don't take that chance, then nothing good can come from that situation, and you'll never know. Basically, what I mean by this is once you take the initial shots from your primary weapon, let's say it's an R301, flatlines, it doesn't matter. I was going to say Spitfire. It's not even in the freaking main drop. Anyways, it does not matter what your primary weapon is. Swap instantly to that second weapon and shoot from the hip while you're fading back into a piece of cover. What this is going to do is going to give you the extra opportunity to maybe hit some more bullets on your enemy And who knows, if that enemy is low, you might be able to get a sneaky little knock on them. This is really good for situations where you and your enemy that you are in a gunfight with on a one-on-one battle, if you guys both hit each other for like 100 plus, so you barely have any health, he barely has any health, and you're trying to get away back into cover, you don't need to turn your whole screen to go get back into cover. You can fade away, take some shots at that enemy. Just make sure you're not just wide in the open. This is a thing that I have to nail down for you guys. Make sure you're backing into a piece of cover while you're doing this and not just sliding in the open, because obviously they're going to pull out their other weapon and shred you. But this is really good and a really good method to use if you and your enemy are both trying to get back into a cover and they just turn their back to you. I love doing this, and sometimes it'll get you that sneaky knock. Like I said, you got to take that chance, guys. The third thing is keeping that crosshair consistent, and you've probably heard this tip in every single tip video that's ever been made about Apex. All right, they all want you to keep that crosshair at head level, because obviously headshots kill the fastest in any video game, not just Apex Legends. But I want you guys to keep that crosshair consistent with head level, even when you're popping out of cover. Let's say you're heading back into a cover, taking a shield battery behind a tree, a rock, whatever. I don't even, any structure, it does not matter. When you're popping back out from that piece of cover, whatever the case may be, you want to have the crosshairs at head level. All right, a lot of people will pop out from cover and they'll put their crosshairs like, oh, way up in the sky or aimed at the ground. For whatever reason, that's not going to win you any gunfights. And if your enemy does end up pushing you at that certain angle, you're going to regret not having your crosshair lined up with where their head should be. So you guys always want to be thinking one step ahead. And if that enemy does push, what do I do in that certain situation? That's how you always have to be thinking. That's how you're going to win more gunfights in Apex Legends. Now, the last tip that I'm going to talk to you guys about today is going to be backing or fading away into cover. And this is very similar to hip firing while fading away. But this time I'm going to be explaining the second part of that tip that I was talking about earlier. That's going to be the backing into cover. So always when you're taking those shots, when your magazine is about to end, let's say you pop out of a corner, right? You start taking your primary shots from your R301, your flatline. Can you tell that those two guns are my favorite in the game because I only mentioned those? Let's say the Volt. You're using a Volt, you're taking your shots, and you're almost out of your magazine. What you want to be doing is towards the end of that magazine, you want to be fading back into cover so that you're not taking any extra damage along the way. This is also going to ensure you that extra time that you might need. Let's say if you get cracked and you need to take a battery, or you need to reload your weapon or switch to your other weapon, it's going to give you that extra second of time that you're going to need in order to outplay your enemy, hopefully in whatever situation is upon you at that certain time. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video and learned something from it. Hopefully it improves your whole Apex Legends game. Let me know if it did down in the comment section below. Also, drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and comment about any more tip videos you guys would like to see, because I got a lot more in store if you guys want to know more about Apex Legends. Anyways, guys, have a great one and peace out.